The Boy Child Advancement and Protection Foundation BCAPF's International, a global organization with a singular focus the comprehensive development of young boys aged 5 to 18 years. We are a non-governmental, non-profit, legally registered entity dedicated to nurturing the potential of every young boy, no matter where he comes from or the challenges he faces. Operating under the principles of social responsibility, inclusivity, and collaboration, our vision is simple yet profound: to create a world where every boy has the opportunity to achieve his best, to become an inspiration, and to contribute meaningfully to society. Our mission is to equip these young minds with the tools they need: life skills, education, mentorship, and creative outlets so they can make a positive impact in their communities. But this mission is not one we can accomplish alone. We are mobilizing individuals and stakeholders to rise to the challenge to mitigate the effects of environmental and societal adversities on young boys through mentorship, life skills, and advocacy. By harnessing the power of social, economic, and cultural capital, we strive to help these boys realize their full potential. Through our global advocacy, we aim to inspire young boys to overcome challenges, embrace diversity, lead with empathy, and become active participants in building a brighter, more inclusive future. Today, the boy child is confronted with a global crisis that demands immediate attention. In a world marked by poverty, illiteracy, inequality, substance abuse, child labor, forced migration, terrorism, child soldiering, trafficking, neglect, abuse, social vices, banditry, political thuggery, kidnapping, and other adversities, many young boys find themselves exposed to harmful influences that threaten their growth and potential. With inadequate or non-existent government policies exacerbating these issues, families are left struggling and boys are often led astray. But we are determined to change that narrative. In our quest to better understand how to impact the boy child, we have conducted a series of interviews with distinguished men who have broken barriers, defied the odds, and emerged as mentors and leaders.
Mentorship. Not having anybody you can look up to. Not having responsible people anymore. Okay, not having anybody that you can trust to be that man of honor and valor. Okay, everybody is hustling and hustling. There is no longer that, relaxed, priestly, princely looking old man, who is contented with, coming out of his hut and he has a lot of dignity. Everybody is striving and struggling and dragging everybody, along with them. Okay, so there's no, in those days, if you shock a professor, you didn't wash your hand for 1 week. If you sat with a professor, you didn't want to, it's an experience you don't, they were like gods. Okay, and one of us, when growing up, one of the biggest, titles you could have was to say, or your mom could have, was to say, Mama Doctor. Okay, Mama Lawyer. I mean, she was working on the moon. Okay, way back in those days, if you missed passing university education, you didn't, or you failed JAMB, you can't come out. Okay, you hid yourself and hid your face in shame, because that was what gave us our pride. All right, and you were the envy. I mean, you were seen as that model that needed to be. But these days, what are we doing with our education, with our media systems, and everybody tells you to hell with education. Does it?
Experience watching aircraft coming to land today has also pushed me into the aviation sector.
Well, you can't talk it, you can't give it a blanket, approach once and all. No, you have to look at some areas. For instance, the child in the northern part of the country is facing more challenges than the person who is living in the other side of Nigeria. Because of our tradition, because of the wrong perspective of understanding of Islam, we have a lot of Almajiris moving around with, out of school. We need to reform the Almajiri system, and with the support of the recent organization established by the government, I think we can do something that will change the narratives. But it has to be a lot of efforts must be geared towards that before we reach there. Why I say that is because the government alone cannot even do it. We have millions of children moving around out of school, so we need to do something about it.
I think, to be fair to our system, there is very little hindrance for people to be in school. In actual fact, today, in my community, it's almost impossible to find any child who is not in school. Believe me. It's when I went further north that I started seeing children roaming out of school. But in my state, in Kwara State, except perhaps in the urban centers, every child is supposed to be in school.
And when a guy who has been raised without the influence of the man in the house comes up, and then how does he now become the man to his own children in future, for instance? So, the absence of the man in the house is causing some dissonance. The equilibrium that keeps some the family structure is broken. To me, and then also the challenges of government, bad government. There's no form of government planning. Put so much burden on the young child, more or less. Because when there's no daddy, then you start to see these young people feeling, becoming sensitive, knowing that they're presenting so much burden to their mom or whomever they are with, and that creates some insecurity in them, and that's anxiety and insecurity. These are things I see as serious.
Because we have a lot of Nigerian childs who are out of school, is because of the system is not adequately supported. It's not adequately and properly designed. That is why you have a lot of children out of school, because the government are saying they are doing their best. But if you go to some areas, even the infrastructure is not there. Talk less of teachers, talk less of equipments. We are now in a digitalized world. Therefore, any government that cannot digitalize its primary school is not giving the adequate support for education. We need to move. We have a lot to do, and we need to move forward to facing the challenges of the global needs on education.
Challenges I've gone through as a young person, being a bricklayer, being a Sockaway evacuator, being a bus conductor. I used to hawk ice water. There was no pure water then, so we tie it manually and put it to sleep overnight so that the cold temperature will go into the water, and then in the morning we have to go and buy ice block. Very, very few families had the capacity to produce ice block then. You go and buy from them, and then you go around the whole market and keep selling. Once you're done selling, you go back, take again. So those things, today has made me more resilient.
I think what your foundation is doing is most commendable. I pray and hope that you get more than public support. In other climes, government should support what you're doing fully, because you're actually going into that area, that niche where everybody seems to have accepted as normal. I mean, one of your celebrated cases of the kidney boy that his kidney was harvested, should have gone global. It's enough to have given that foundation a national award, national recognition. The president should have called, that foundation to have commended them. The Ministry of Health should have commended them. The Nigerian police should have commended them. Because if you don't have foundations like yours, speaking up, I mean, the kind of things that are happening now, it tears my heart. And if all of us can do it in our own little ways, okay, that money we use in probably purchasing that very expensive electronics could actually help 1, 2, 3 people leave the streets. That's my philosophy.
Boys are actually generally ignored and neglected because you take it for granted that they are okay. You worry about your daughter becoming wayward. You worry about your daughter being taken advantage of, but nobody worries about the boy child. Is the potential criminal who wants to take advantage of other people and all that. So, but that's wrong. They also need to be guided properly so that they will not miss their goals in life. Pregnant. So apart from those rare cases, most girls stay in school. The boys are the ones who are more prone to dropping out. And that we need to focus on. One of which I highlighted the fact that he's more prone to dropping.
Insights, we gain a deeper understanding of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Our work extends beyond advocacy. In Nigeria and across Africa, BCAPF has made significant strides exposing illegal kidney trafficking, advocating to governments, and coordinating activities across all 36 states of Nigeria and other African nations. We call on governments to enact and enforce laws that protect boys from exploitation and abuse, and to promote programs that teach nonviolent conflict resolution, respect for others, and the value of human life.
The only way we can tackle this is addressing this from the foundation. The girl child are paid more attention to. Like, you have a lot of ministry focusing on the boy and the girl child. Ministry of Women Affairs. Recently in Abuja, there was a lot of, I was hearing a lot of news where the Minister of Women Affairs, in Nigeria, were rescuing the girl child. But you talk about the boy child are in the street of Abuja, and they are not, nobody is giving them attention, nobody is rescuing them, and there's no agency that is focusing on the boy child. And that is why we have today, we have terrorism, we have Boko Haram in Nigeria, we have a lot of terrorist group going on. You hardly find the woman there, but it is the boy child. So for us to address this issue, we need to focus on changing the narrative, addressing the mindset of this boy child. It is global issues. Go to US, you go to different countries, you find out that the boy child will wake up today, tomorrow, and move on the street and start shooting randomly, killing people. And this because there was no love. There was no emotional care given to the boy child. So it is a high time we're addressing it. While we are focusing on the girl child, the boy child is suffering. So we need to balance it. We need to balance it. Just like most of us, it's just like being foolish. You're taking care of the girl child, and you forgot that the boy child is the one that also get married to the girl child. And that's why you find a lot of abuse today in families. You find a lot of rape today in different places. So the boy child also being raped. So we really need to come up and to address this issue. Recently in Abuja, we discovered where illegal kidney trade are happening. A lot of boy child who are not up to they are not even up to 15, they're all 17, 15. And most of them are lured into job opportunity, and they go there, they harvest their kidney. These are boy child. Looking at it, there was no law protecting the boy child. There was no law protecting these boys. Their kidney has been harvested, and this has been going on in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole. Look at Sierra Leone. The recent drug abuse in Sierra Leone, where your boy child are going to harvest dead bone. They use it, they grind it, because for them it hides them it makes them very high, and they are committing a lot of. So there's a time. This is a time that within the global community is a global issue. We need to come up to address the issues of the boy child, so that we can have a world free of crime, so that we can have a world where you will live without fear, so that we can have a world where we'll see less of mental people around the street and rest of them. A lot of your boy child has been condemned because most of them are into drugs. So it is a time to pay attention, and it is a time for the world, the community, the nations to create agencies that sees to the boy child, agencies that will address this issue at the early age, so that we can have young, responsible men who will transform the society, who will give value to their children, who will give value to the family. So that is the reason behind the boy child. And we believe that this a time has come where the global communities will pay attention. A time has come where parents will also pay attention, mentor their boy child, like in the days where we were being raised. You can't come up with, you can't buy anything, you'll be scared of your parents. You can't bring in anything into the family without explaining how it comes. But today we don't have it. Boy child does a lot of things, and the parents look elsewhere. So this is a time for everyone to get involved, so that we can have a society where we will live at peace.
Urge families and religious centers to play their crucial role in mentoring, inspiring, and instilling values in young boys. Your involvement is key to providing them with the moral and emotional support they need. And to the international community and NGOs, we invite you to partner and collaborate with us. Collectively, if we all dedicate a day to the protection and advancement of the boy child, we can work towards a society where boys are raised in love, with values, dignity, and our communities free of crime. As our motto implies,